Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, Gennady Golovkin is taking a step towards unification and will be taking on Ryota Murata December 29th in a unification fight. And I think this puts shame to Andrade and Charlo, because these two guys are in their prime. They're young guys. And for some reason, they're not fighting each other. Here's a 39-year-old in Golovkin who is taking a step towards a unification fight. And if he was to win against Murata, he becomes a unified champion at 39. And I think it's really, really sad that, that a 39-year-old is taking the initiative and looking for and actually fighting a unification fight, while these two other guys, and you've got to blame both guys. You've got to blame both guys, because at the end of the day, we don't know the ins and outs. I've already told you that I think Andrade wants to fight. But it seems like Charlo and his side, they're not coming to the table. But the point I'm trying to make is, I always said that it's good because we need to see an undisputed middleweight champion. And Golovkin is making that possible by becoming a unified champion. Because if Charlo and Andrade fight now, we're only one fight away from undisputed. I don't expect the Charlo and Andrade fight to happen. But what I will say is, fair play to Gennady Golovkin. He's had a great career. He's at the end of his career, and now he's going to be fighting Ryota Murata. I actually think this fight with Murata is being done to lure Canelo down. The only problem is I don't think Canelo's going to come down to 160. He's already achieved being undisputed champion. He's already done that. He doesn't need to become undisputed. He's already undisputed champion. He's already achieved that feat. He's already holding all of the belts. He's already achieved it. He's the undisputed super middleweight champion. So that goal of being undisputed has been ticked off. And now he may try to become undisputed at 175. Who knows with Canelo? Canelo is always looking to break boundaries. But I really hope that Gennady Golovkin does the same, because Gennady Golovkin could sign off his career if he becomes a undisputed champion, which he can. I believe he could beat Andrade and Charlo. I know there's some Andrade fanboys and Charlo guys that think, no, Golovkin could still beat those guys. And I really want to see Golovkin sign off as an undisputed champion. I think his career deserves it. I think he's been so unlucky. I think he beat Canelo the first time and got no credit. And then he got a draw, and then he lost the second fight. So I feel like Golovkin hasn't got credit for his talent, his ability. I don't think Golovkin gets full credit for it, because when you look back at his career, he's ended up with a draw and a loss against Canelo. But I'm glad Golovkin, after the Canelo fight, he's really been on the sidelines. He's really gone missing in terms of fighting elite level competition. He hasn't really fought anybody. He fought Derevyanchenko, and a lot of people thought he lost that fight. And then he's fought lesser caliber guys. So I'm not saying Murata is a very, very high caliber guy, but it's a step up and it's a unification fight. So it's a significant fight in terms of the division. And if Golovkin was to win, he'd become a unified champion at the age of 39, which again would be an incredible feat. There's not many 39-year-olds that you can think in the history of that unified champion. So it would be a great achievement for Golovkin. And let's see if Golovkin, because Golovkin always had ambition to become undisputed middleweight champion, and he's never really managed to achieve it. So let's see if Golovkin pursues and Golovkin goes after trying to become undisputed, or is he at the point of his career where he's doing things to maybe lure Canelo into a fight. Probably trying to lure Canelo in, because I think that fight means a lot to him, and I think he wants to win that fight badly. He wants to, he feels that he was wronged, and he wants to put that right. He wants to get a win over Canelo. A lot of people seem to think that fight's for Golovkin has just gone a little bit past its sell-by date, and Golovkin's not the fighter he was. But let's see what Golovkin decides to do. If he was to come through Murata, who knows? Golovkin may have declined, and maybe Murata beats him. At this point, Murata can fight. He's a good fighter. But you'd expect Golovkin to come through that. And then it becomes exciting, because then we start talking about, okay, what next for Golovkin? What are we going to see Golovkin do? But yeah, I feel like Golovkin, he's definitely been a bit hard done by. When we look back at his career, he probably could have done a lot more. But unfortunately, his career has not panned out the way, you know, we thought it would. You know, he's not got the opportunities at the right times. He was a very avoided fighter, but eventually the opportunities did come. They came a little bit late as well. But having said that, he still did very well against Canelo both times. You know, like Teddy Atlas believes he won both times. Many others believe that he won both times. I personally think he won the first one, and I had him losing the second one. But nevertheless, there's no shame in that. You know, it showed that, and both fights were very close. And you know, Golovkin really pushed Canelo hard. And really, when you think about it, that's been, apart from the Mayweather fight, where obviously Canelo was a lot younger and he wasn't as experienced, and Mayweather beat him comfortably, Golovkin's been his hardest fight. You know, the two fights that he had with Golovkin were definitely the hardest fights he's had. So, you know, Golovkin's a warrior. Golovkin's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. I don't think his skills are well and truly appreciated like they should be. You know, this is a guy that's had so many title defenses. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the competition. And when he was calling guys like Miguel Cotto, Canelo out for so many years, nobody was fighting him. And he never came into the sport as a spring chicken, because he had a long amateur career. So he wasn't young when he started. You know, he was already old. And then obviously with years and years going by, with no one coming to the table, because Golovkin wasn't a real big sell like that. You know, you'd say his first real biggish fight was probably Kell Brook. When you think about it, like, that was a big pay-per-view fight here in the UK. Wouldn't have been a big fight in America, but it was a big fight here in the UK. And that was a fight which I think was really big. Don't get me wrong, people knew about Golovkin prior to that. They knew about how much of a beast he was. But I feel like that was his first major fight against a decent name. You know, because Brook isn't a superstar, he's a decent name. But then after that, he got Danny Jacobs, and then he finally, you know, got Canelo Alvarez. And that's when, you know, the Brook fight, he did okay. The Jacobs fight, you know, he was all right. But I will say that the level of competition definitely, he stepped it up. People seem to think that, you know, Golovkin at that time when he fought Canelo, he was kind of on the slide when he fought Jacobs. Some people thought it was just a level of competition. He got better and he wasn't being able to get those guys out of there. It's hard to say, because like I said, Golovkin, even going into the first Canelo fight, wasn't a spring chicken. He was, you know, he wasn't a young guy. You know, he was probably, when he fought Canelo the first time, maybe pushing 35, 34, you know, so he wasn't young then. You know, and I'm not saying 35 is really old, but it's not young either, you know. 35 for a boxer, you'd say he's coming towards the end of his career. And Golovkin now at 39, you know, he didn't look great against Derevyanchenko, which obviously a lot of fans thought, okay, is this the end of Golovkin? But Golovkin, I believe he'll win this fight. I think he'll possibly even stop Murata, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, what Golovkin does after, if he does beat Murata. Does he wait for a Canelo fight? Does he? Because they are, like, Eddie Hearn has said that he's looking for him to fight Golovkin. I can understand why Eddie Hearn wants the Canelo Golovkin fight, because he knows that if he was to make that fight, that would help DAZN massively from a subscription point of view, because that fight would be huge. And Eddie Hearn would be the one that's making that fight. He would be the one that's promoting that fight. And as you guys know, Eddie Hearn loves to break boundaries. He loves to promote fights of that magnitude, because he'll be like a kid in a candy shop, Eddie Hearn, if he gets a chance to promote that fight. And that would be a massive fight for him to promote. You know, you'd probably say that might be the biggest fight he's ever promoted. Yeah, I know he's done Joshua Klitschko, but this might even be bigger. This might even be bigger. So, yeah, I can understand why Eddie Hearn is wanting to make the Golovkin-Canelo fight. You know, but let's see if it gets done. But what do you guys think of Canelo? I mean, Gennady Golovkin facing Ryota Murata. I think it's a good fight, but a fight that I expect Golovkin to win. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.